This is Corey again with Kurzweil Education, and Cami is with us. She's going to do an overview of the Mac. We called it Mac 101. It's going to be very general, just to show some of the tools, the differences between the interfaces. You might have to quick dial in. So with that, I'll introduce Cami.
Thank you, Corey, and thanks to all that are joining us today. So I'm part of the Kurzweil Education sales team and work throughout New England, plus many of the states in the Southeast. I've been part of Kurzweil for many years, and prior to employment here, worked for another organization developing assistive technology and as a special education teacher. My focus today, as you all know, will be on the Macintosh version of Kurzweil, and the intent is really just to help familiarize you with the Mac interface. Let me begin by showing you where to locate the product guides and the program itself. So the product guides can be found at kurzweiledu.com under Kurzweil Academy. There, choose the Getting Started tab, the first tab, and in the upper left, you'll see the product guides folder. And within that folder, there are download options for all of the guides. So to locate the program itself, I've switched tabs here at the top. Go to kurzweiledu.com/K3 and Mac. But from there, please be sure that you choose the correct version of or edition of Kurzweil 3000 to download. For example, if you have an active web license subscription, you want to select that option, and the other option just below it is for the standalone version, and the standalone requires a serial number for activation. So let's move into the program itself. I'm going to minimize my Chrome window here and get this ready to show you. So first of all, I want to show you that I'm demonstrating version 16 of the web license edition of Kurzweil. And to check the version, you can select Kurzweil 3000 and About. And you can see here it's showing me this is version 16.22. It's the latest build, and it is the web license edition. From that Kurzweil 3000 menu, you're able to do other things, including check for updates. And it's really important that you do that. Our Kurzweil engineers release monthly updates to the tools, so it's important that you keep your software updated. When you start Kurzweil for the first time, the welcome document, this document here will display, and the one I have on the upper right, the tip of the day, will also automatically display. So those two elements will show each time you start Kurzweil, unless you deselect them upon startup within the preferences. For now, I'm manually going to close the tip of the day, as well as this welcome document. You can see underneath, I already had something open. This is an article about energy, a 3-page article that I brought in yesterday from the News ELA website. I saved it as a PDF to my desktop and brought it into Kurzweil. And now let's take a closer look at the Kurzweil 3000 preferences. So the preference window contains 7 panes that represent the defaults Kurzweil uses for various tasks. So to find the preferences, again, I'll go to Kurzweil 3000, and this time I'll select preferences. And here, we're going to briefly walk through these 7 preferences. So the first on the upper left, the general preference pane, is used for user interface settings, such as the tip of the day, typing, and document view preferences. I'm going to uncheck the tip of the day, and I'll also deselect an option to have certain things read aloud while I'm typing. I'm going to deselect to have all characters read aloud while I type. Now with these two things, whole words and whole sentences checked, Kurzweil will read each word as I type it. And when I type a period or place other punctuation, it will read that completed sentence back to me. So moving to the next preference pane, we come to highlighters. So highlighters obviously relate to the highlighting tools within Kurzweil. And here I can opt which ones I want displayed and even rename them. Teachers will often introduce their students to a color coding system to develop good study habits and support close reading. For instance, I want to consistently use my yellow highlighter to show or find important parts of the text or main ideas. You can see I changed the label for the yellow highlighter to state main ideas. That way, when I go to use the yellow highlighter, I'm given a reminder of its purpose. So the highlighters can be found under tools, which I'll talk about more in a minute, but when I hover over the yellow highlighter, it states, I hope you can see this, main idea, rather than the default label of yellow highlighter. So moving on to my next preference pane, which is notes. By default, Kurzweil 3000 displays all notes and bookmarks that you add to a document. However, you can opt to hide those annotations. Hiding the annotations doesn't remove them from the document, but it lets you have a clear view of the scanned image or typed document. So moving on to the next, reading. The reading preference pane lets you change the reading colors. When Kurzweil 3000 reads, it highlights the current word in one color and the reading unit, such as a line, sentence, or phrase in another color. You can choose from the standard options or create a custom color combination. So the default here is yellow and green. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So using Kurzweil's reader, I'm going to click the read button.
It is what makes things move, work, and grow. Energy powers the...
And if I want to change the color combination, I'm back in my preference pane. I can scroll through, or to create my own custom color combination, I can select custom, and then I'm given this custom color wheel down here on the left. So under that same reading preference pane, you're also given options for both the Chrome and Firefox, read the web extensions, as well as speaker options, language and voice. So moving ahead to the scanning preference pane, I'm not going to do anything today within the scanning pane, but I want to make sure you're aware of this because here you're given scanning options in terms of character recognition, orientation, and text color options. So moving ahead to the final two preferences here for text, within the text pane, you're able to choose your desired font, then close the button to apply those changes. The font and font size will be used for all new text documents. I'm going to go ahead and change mine now. So now I have it, the font to Helvetica. I'm going to change mine over to the Open Dyslexic font. And then you'll notice something else. Here you'll see the option for Magnify spoken words. Magnify spoken words is a special window that displays on top of an open document. The window can be set to show between 1 and 5 words in large type as Kurzweil 3000 reads. And let's take a look. So first I have the option to choose my font and the size. I'm just going to leave those as is for now. And then to enable that feature, I'll choose it from the read menu at the top. So I'll go to the top and from the read menu, select Magnify spoken words. And you can see this separate window popped up that I can certainly resize. From here, when I begin to read, you'll see the text display in that window. And I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to choose read again from Kurzweil 3000's reader.
It is what makes things move, work and grow, energy, power.
And I'll stop and close that window. So the last preference under the preference pane is the toolbars. Toolbars appear at the top of a Kurzweil 3000 document window. Toolbars contain buttons that let you perform tasks such as print, save, scan, spell check, and so on. Out of the box, Kurzweil 3000 displays one of 3 default toolbars, either the scanning, writing, or exploring for each kind of document you create or open. Well, a document can only display one toolbar at a time. You can easily switch between toolbars, or you can create a custom toolbar. For example, you can tell Kurzweil which features you want displayed or not. To customize your toolbar, you can select View at the top and then choose to customize your toolbar, and I'll do that. So from the top, I'll choose View and scroll down to Customize Toolbar. And this gives me the list of features in Kurzweil 3000. And to begin customizing, maybe I want to create an MP3 or audio file and I want that added to this toolbar. I can quickly drag it up or drag it out. And you also have the option to rename your toolbar. Now that I've gone through the preferences, let's take a brief look at the interface for this Mac version. And finally, I'll end with Kurzweil's help menu. I'll close the preferences and bring the starting points window into view, and we'll talk more about the interface. So let me bring the starting points window into view, and we'll talk more about what's showing here. So, whoops, sorry about that. So the interface for the Mac includes the menu bar, the starting points window, the Kurzweil 3000 reader, and the tools palette. The Kurzweil menu bar lives at the top edge of the screen and contains commands you use to perform tasks in Kurzweil. The starting points window, the one I just brought to the forefront, contains the tools you need to create a new Kurzweil 3000 document, open an existing file, read the web, and scan. The Kurzweil 3000 reader, and by the way, all these can be easily moved. You can display anything here in a way which works best for you. So the Kurzweil 3000 reader consists of 2 areas. The main area contains the read, pause, previous, next, and lookup tools, so at the top. And the details pane has the reading settings. So the reading unit, the reading mode, the reading voice, the ability to read aloud or silently, as well as adjust the rate of speech. There you can see on the bottom. And I want to take a closer look at the lookup tool. So to obtain the definition or other information about a word, you can either select a word within a document or type a word, then click Look Up. Once you've done that, you can click through the tabs for the desired information you want. I'll go to my document and choose the word sources. So I'm simply dragging my cursor over the word sources, and now I'll use the lookup button in my reader. So I'm going to go back to the Kurzweil 3000 reader, select look up, and now that it's loaded, you can see I have the option to look at a definition. I can certainly have this read aloud. I can look and listen to a synonym or synonyms relevant to that word, see the syllables, see and hear the spelling, and last but not least, get a picture for that selected word. And I'll close that window. So the tools palette on the lower left here. The tools palette contains annotation tools that are also very useful in test taking. It contains on the upper left the I-beam, which enables you to select text It contains an eraser tool to erase highlights, 6 highlighters, 2 circle tools, and notes, note options, and a bookmarks tool. So finally, last but not least, to wrap up this webinar, I want to make sure you are aware of Kurzweil's help menu. The help menu is located at the top right hand of the menu bar. And from there, you can select a subject area to access different topics of interest, or you may also search for information by typing a question into the search box. And that concludes my portion of the webinar, and I'd love to address any questions that Corey maybe didn't do so during the demonstration.
Here's one. What's the biggest difference between the Mac and the Windows versions? I think the graphic interface is what he's referring to. Now, it's very different. It's very different. When our engineers made the Mac version, they made the fundamental decision to make it look like software native to the Mac computer. So their theory behind that was that somebody who's used to using a Mac will look at the different interfaces of Kurzweil, and it makes sense with the different windows that pop up. The Windows version looks more like a Word document. We've received and heard, I think I would call it rightful criticism, that if somebody's jumping between platforms, it would sure be nice that they look the same. Holly is asking about research tools, for instance, APA or MLA citations when writing, and actually we do have that. I don't want to put you on the spot, Cami, because truth be told, most of us are demoing on the Windows side and the web version all day. But there is a, on the Windows version and on the Mac, there is a citation tool. And I would, what Cami noted earlier was the user guides. So to really get to dive into that, that's what I would recommend.
Yes, yeah, and as a quick reminder, so let me just bring Chrome back up. The user guides are really helpful. So if I switch back over to the tab within the Getting Started folder, you can see a Getting Started guide or the full, more detailed, whoops, right down here, product guide for Kurzweil. There are other things which may be helpful too. I would say at this point we have more videos relevant to the Windows version of Kurzweil, but if I switch over to Kurzweil Academy again, under each one of these tabs, there are abbreviated videos. So you might also find a short tutorial video relevant to some of the Mac features over here.
Does it do the split screen in Mac? And I believe you're talking about the writing path. And yes, with the writing path in Kurzweil, it would. Yes, it is. And yes, it is. You can do the complete highlight, extract those to a graphic organizer, or start with a graphic organizer, creates an outline, and then you can split the screen. And the text is, she's asking if she can see that. Cami, do you feel up to just showing a quick brainstorming and the writing transition?
Sure. Whoops.
Oh, the start writing, yeah. So yeah, just so as she's preparing that, or maybe start with, well, however you want to do it. So you can see at the top.
You're join us today. Thank you for joining us today.
So yeah, now you can split the screen, and then you can see right at the top there, you can go to brainstorm view, outline view, draft view, split the screen. So, and that just to be started at file and start writing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, with a new writing document, it displays these tools at the top, but you could certainly, like I showed a few minutes ago, you can customize, you can remove any of these features or add if you want to add more or different features to what displays here while you're writing.
Correct. And Holly is asking, does the Mac version have speech to text for writing papers? Yes, it does. And
Definitely.
it does, it works, it's Mac embedded voiceover, and it works excellently. You don't have to train it. So you have access. One of the questions was, but do I even get access to this based on what I currently have purchased? If you purchased a subscription, so you have a yearly cost associated, you can load it on as many machines as you want, and you can load it onto a Mac or a Windows machine, and you activate it using a username and a password that has been assigned.
So what happens is, I'll jump down from the beginning. So I just quit Kurzweil on my dock on the bottom. Once I select Kurzweil, it prompts me to put in my username and password, and I would need that same username and password as a web license subscriber, whether I'm trying to access the installed version here, the web version, kurzweil3000.com, either of the read the web extensions for Chrome or Firefox, or the iPad app. So it's the same user credentials, it's the same username and password you would use to get into any one of those modalities, or we call it the Kurzweil ecosystem because they all work together.
Right. Yeah. As an example, if you were working on a paper on your Mac machine, you'd save that to Kurzweil's cloud storage. We call it the Universal Library. And then if you happen to be, let's say at a library or some other place where you don't have your Mac computer, but you wanted to finish doing some writing, you could go to any computer, log into Kurzweil3000.com, any web browser, and then open up that draft again and continue writing using text, speech to text, or having your writing being read aloud to you.
And so I'm showing the Universal Library or cloud right now. And again, I'm accessing it from the client or installed version of Kurzweil, but I can easily open my Chrome browser right now and access the same Universal Library from the web version of Kurzweil. And within that Universal Library, it's just a system, a folder system, and you can really structure it whatever way you want. If you're a teacher, maybe you have students listed under you and you can give content to them. It might be that you label it your folders, the titles of your subjects. You can see here, so I created this fictitious teacher folder, and under it, within my public folder, I created a series of subfolders. And what works for me, because I demonstrate frequently, I wanted to give credit to the sites I often pull content in from. So for today's demonstration, I pulled in from this website, Newsy LA, and then from there, I have more folders. And within my science folder, I had brought in, again, just yesterday, this article on this science article. So if it were a college student, maybe they have folders relevant to the titles of their subjects or due dates for writing assignments. They can really create folders to whatever method works for them.
Correct. Well, thanks, Cami. We've seen to have come to the end of the questions. So thanks everybody who stuck with us here. Some great questions, and Cami, really nice, succinct job on demonstrating that.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice afternoon.
Yep, take care. Stay safe.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks, Len.